Starting with our top story, the United States and Taiwan just held their first tariff talks. Taiwan is pushing back against a 32% duty on its exports, calling them unfair. In the meeting, Taipei offered a zero-tariff plan and pledged more investments in the United States. Taiwan has stated that more talks could follow suit. Taiwan, a key semiconductor supplier, has long wanted a trade deal with the United States, despite having no formal diplomatic ties. This comes as tensions escalate between the U.S. and China. China has hiked tariffs on American goods to a staggering 125%. In response, President Trump has jacked up duties on Chinese imports to 145%. Trump is still defending his tariffs, calling it very exciting for America and the world. China's President Xi Jinping has said that Beijing is not afraid of a long trade fight and has vowed to fight back. Ross Feingold, a political risk analyst, with us on the program. Ross, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking to NewsX World once again. Well, where do you think this tariff war between the United States and China is headed? For what we know and for what is common knowledge, that the American economy is pretty much dependent on China being a consumer-driven economy.
If we take President Trump at his word, he wants to negotiate with China. He's repeatedly emphasized that. Although he's critical of China's trade practices, he often also says that he doesn't blame them for taking advantage of the United States, and it was the fault of presidents before him that the United States developed such a large trade deficit with China. He also emphasizes that he gets along well with Xi Jinping. So I think President Trump does want to negotiate again, keeping in mind during his first term after he initiated higher tariffs on Chinese goods in 2018. Subsequently, China and the United States agreed in January 2020 to something called the Phase 1 trade agreement. So I think Trump does genuinely want to negotiate with China. What the final tariffs would be after that negotiation it's impossible to say. That would be a product of the negotiation. But for now, President Trump is digging in, and he wants to see when will China come asking for negotiations.
Ross, there has been more pleasantness when it comes to the Americans dealing with Taiwan. Do you think that is probably going to irk the China a little more? Because formally Taiwan is not a country. It is something which, of course, the Chinese will take offense to.
I think one of the reasons why the United States Trade Representative prioritized the call with Taiwan's trade negotiators on Friday in United States time after he spoke with Israel on the same day is they wanted to annoy China. I think Taiwan's friends in Congress and in the administration, like Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, I think they said, let's prioritize negotiating a deal with Taiwan. We know it's going to annoy China. I mean, of course, Taiwan and United States have an important trade relationship, most notably for semiconductors and other high-tech equipment. So there's a lot of good reason to prioritize negotiating a deal with Taiwan. But again, I think part of that priority is political and to annoy China.
Ross, there's also been a rollback of these tariffs, or we can call it a pause for 90 days. And, a lot of experts are of the opinion that this was not really profoundly thought through. Does that put, the seriousness with which the Americans are taken into some sort of a peril?
I don't think so, because a pause just gives an opportunity. It's a window to have negotiations with the Trump administration. But I do think they're very serious about this, and the likelihood that 90 days later a lot of these reciprocal tariffs will go into effect, I think it's still high. But at a minimum, these trading partners of the United States, they have to assume that they're facing the risk of higher tariffs in 90 days. I mean, in the meantime, they're all facing a 10% tariff, what the administration's calling the baseline tariff. So it would be very risky for these other countries to not treat it as a serious possibility and fail to communicate to the Trump administration that they want to negotiate. I don't think any of those countries should take that chance. That would just be poor policy making on their part. So they have to take the threat seriously and negotiate with the Trump administration accordingly.
Ross, always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much.